Hey everybody, welcome to this short extra video. In this video, I am going to do what I did in the previous video, both in Maya and Photoshop, but I'm going to do it in GIMP. In the previous video, I went ahead and created transparency in an image that, as you can see, does not actually have transparency applied to it, which is this butterfly image, the same one that I worked with in the previous video. I'm going to create transparency, but using GIMP. So the first thing I did was import this in, and to do that, very simple. Just went to File, open as Layers, found the image, double-clicked, opened it up. Here it is. Now that I have the image in here, first thing I want to do is go over to my Layers, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go to Add Layer Mask, and I am going to create a white mask. You can create a black mask too if you want to. For simplicity's sake, and just to make sure we can see the butterfly while we work with it, I'm going to create a white full opacity mask. That way now I can do some non-destructive work, and the non-destructive work I'm going to do is creating the transparency. So to do that, I have a couple of options. I can go up here to the top left, and I can search out the scissors tool. I don't actually see any scissors here, but as I spoke about in the previous GIMP video, if you right-click on certain tools, you can see a list of other tools that are hidden underneath that tool. So this paintbrush tool has a pencil tool, an airbrush tool, an ink tool, etc., etc. This has a whole bunch of tools for rotating and scaling and stuff. If we go to this lasso here, which is the free select tool, and we can right click, we can see the scissor select is actually here. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to go ahead and hold control on my keyboard and scroll up the mouse wheel to sort of just zoom in, and I'm going to start creating my my selection here. The scissors tool is quite useful, as it creates smart selections, saving you the trouble of having to do the actual selecting yourself. All I'm doing is holding the Shift key on my keyboard and just dragging the mouse over and creating these little selections here. And I'm just going to keep doing that for the entirety of this butterfly. It doesn't have to be a perfect selection. Try to, make it as good as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. We can do some work with it afterwards to sort of clean up whatever gets whatever outside stuff is selected after the fact. So select that. In this case, I'm going very, very small because that white is probably confusing this smart select tool. Again, just holding the Shift key, dragging the mouse, just go down here, go down here. At this point, I'm probably going to speed up just so you don't have to sit here watching me do this. And here at the end, I'm just going to click this final point just to lock everything up. Press Enter. I have my selection here. It's not 100% perfect, but for a demo, this is just fine. Next thing I'm going to do is shortcut key on my keyboard, Control-I, to just flip the selection, to invert it, I should say. Next, I'm going to select my brush, and using the black color here, although if I was using a black mask, I would use the white color here, I am just going to begin to paint and just get my transparency. Obviously, you saw that we lost some information on the butterfly. We're going to get that back in just a second, but for now, actually, let's do this instead. We'll keep that information there just so it's easier for me to track it later. I'm just going to get rid of everything else. Just painting, non-destructive workflow, so if I'm not happy with this, I can very easily undo it. But this creates all that transparency we did in Photoshop. It's not as accurate as the Photoshop version of this, but it's pretty good. Pretty good for a open source tool. We're not going to get rid of all of this again. I don't need those little legs that were sticking out of the butterfly, so I'm just going to get rid of those. I mean, you could keep them if you want to. I kept them in the Photoshop version, I think, but for this demo, I don't need them. I'm fine with it as is. Just get rid of as much as I can. It's going to make the next part of this a little bit easier to have less to work with and less to look at and less to deal with. Okay. That's pretty good. We got most of it out of here, but obviously we need to do some cleanup. There's some little bits in the corners here that we're not going to worry about, but mainly we have this top area to worry about where we did not make it fully transparent. So I'm going to select this rectangle select tool. I'm just going to click anywhere just to cancel my previous my previous selection. I also have a little bit of color left over here, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Anyway, my previous selection that I created with that scissors tool is now gone and not a thing anymore. So I'm going to right-click the scissors tool. I'm going to select the free select tool, and I'm going to do the same thing, but for the antenna. The free select tool is completely under your control. I could use the scissors tool here if I wanted to, but because this is such a small piece of imagery to try and capture here, it just makes more sense for me to use the free select tool in this case. I just have more control with free select tool with such a small, low pixel count here, as opposed with bigger objects and bigger images. You're better off using that smart scissor select tool. And by the way, there is a video in the week 8 material that walks you through how to use the smart scissor select tool if you didn't like my own explanation. The original explanation that I used to create this video is sourced in Moodle for you to use, as well as in the description of this video. So I'm just capturing the antenna here. I'm doing the exact same thing, but this time with completely free select and no GIMP intelligence to try and help me out here. We'll just go down here. This is about as much as I need. Go back up, holding control, scrolling the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. And there we go. I'm going to press enter. That is my selection. Again, I'm going to press Control I to invert that. And again, I'm going to select the brush. I make sure I have the color black selected, and I'm just going to get rid of the background here safely, non-destructively. And there we go. Rectangle select tool, select. It's not completely perfect. Obviously, we lost some information here. It's quite curious that we lost some information there, but it's not the end of the world. Let's see, maybe I could use a different kind of brush to do a little better and not lose that much information. No, again, we're working with such small image information, small low pixel count information with the antenna that it makes sense some information is going to be lost. Obviously, for the best results, you get higher quality images, higher quality, bigger images. There we go. Not perfect, but for demo purposes, this is pretty good. And as you can see, even though it's not as robust or as intelligent of a selection tool as what you would have in Photoshop, you can, in fact, still use GIMP to create transparency in images that don't usually have transparency. At this point, I would just go to File. I would go to Export As. I would make sure I export as a .png, so erase the JPEG and make it a PNG. And I'll save it to the desktop. And I'll export. It's going to give me some options here. I'm just going to say export, just go with the base defaults, export that, and it's ready for use in Maya or Unity or wherever you need to put this image. And again, got rid of all all the transparency. And if I wasn't happy with this layer mask for whatever reason, I could just delete the layer mask if I wanted to. And all the image information returns. Of course, I want all that information, transparent and gone, so I undid that. But that is how you use GIMP to achieve what you can also achieve in Photoshop and to a lesser extent in Maya. Hope this short video helped. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.